morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's take a moment or two to become present. Find a nice, comfortable seated position where you can sit and have your spine and back of your neck nice and long and straight and tall, opening up your chest, opening up your diaphragm, opening up your heart. Gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. And soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you can think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is the last of the Niyamas. It's the fifth one, and it's Isvara Pranidhana, and that means surrender. Ishvara Pranidhana presupposes that there is a divine force or something greater than ourselves at work in our lives, which invites us to surrender our ego, open our hearts, and accept a higher purpose of our being. Surrender is not passive. It is not giving up. It asks us to be strong enough to engage in each moment with integrity, and at the same time, be soft enough to flow with the current of life. I often think of, when I read that, of the serenity prayer, of God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I can't change, the courage to change those things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's a nice way of flowing with life, flowing with the current of life. So we're going to take a brief meditation. And there's a mudra you can use if you want. It's the Niyama is called Isvara Pranidhana. And this mudra is called Pranidhana. And it supports us in surrendering, in letting go of attachments and releasing what we don't need in order to make space for what we do need. And that mudra is taking your index finger and your pinkies of each hand and bringing them together. And your fingers are folded and the thumbs are on top of them. So you could do that if you like, the Pranidhana Mudra, and just gently rest it on your lap. And we'll just take a few moments, continuing to get present, maybe just letting ourselves surrender to the moment. You gently close your eyes, and we'll continue in a few moments. You may open your eyes now. This morning we're going to do a style of yoga called Yin Yoga. Yin Yoga is often called the yoga of the joints because, unlike other styles of yoga, the emphasis is on the connective tissue, the deep connective tissue, which is known as fascia, and as opposed to the muscles. There's 3 principles of Yin Yoga. The first one is find your edge. And finding your edge, I often call it finding your sweet spot. It's that effort, or it's that spot between effort and relaxation. And you let your intuition be your teacher while you compassionately lean into that pose. And that is true of any style of yoga that you do, any time you're doing yoga. You should really listen to your body, listen to your intuition, whether the pose is right for you, wrong for you, if there's a modification that might work better for you, and follow that teacher's advice. The second principle is to become as still as you can be. And that is really difficult for us these days. It's the doorway to staying present mentally and physically. It's a challenge. And just as we did in our meditation just now, I seem to have a lot of monkey mind going on today, and that stillness, I finally got to a place where the monkey mind was quiet for a moment. And that's what we're going to try to do in the Yin Yoga, is to be still, but also be active. And this particular Niyama, the Isvara Pranidhana, surrender, as I mentioned earlier, surrender is not passive, and the Yin Yoga is not passive either. Even though you're still, your body should still be active. It's going to be a balance of, and we'll see that in the first pose, of the difference between stillness and activeness. And we need to be not passive, and surrendering is not passive. And the last principle is being able to surrender to time. We are so caught up in, scheduling our lives. We allow this time just to be. And, when was the last time you just kind of went out and watched the clouds float by and listen to the birds and just be still? And that's what we're going to do today. Typically in the Yin Yoga practice, people hold the poses up to 5 minutes and maybe sometimes beyond. The average is 1 to 3 minutes. And today we'll be doing 2 minutes per side, since it's not our typical form of yoga. And I'm going to give you options of either challenging yourself in that 2 minutes with a modification, or not as much a challenge. And it's going to be totally up to you what you choose. So let's get started. And I have a block that might come in handy, and a towel. And the towel I've folded kind of a long way. It's going to work for what we do today, I think, a little bit better than a square setup. And to help us with the stillness, the monkey mind thing going for me today, this might come in particularly handy. I'm going to be providing affirmations whenever we go into a pose. And I invite you to have these affirmations settle within you, and just see how they make you feel. And I've selected these to support you during springtime, like planting seeds into your soul. So I hope you like them. So the first one we're going to do, start off lying down on our backs, and you can roll down any way that's comfortable for you. We're going to get into, well, actually, this is what I wanted to illustrate. When we're in Shavasana at the end, we have our body relaxed, our feet are flopped open, our muscles and joints are all just kind of nice and cozy in the mat and relaxed. That's a relaxed version of mountain pose. What we're going to try to achieve today is an active version of mountain pose. So instead of being in Shavasana, we're going to bring our legs together as if you're standing up in mountain pose. Our toes are flexed, pointing up to the sky, which will activate our legs. Our navel's tucked to our spine. We're going to bring our lower back down toward the mat. Our shoulders are relaxed but rolled back. So our spine is nice and long against the mat. Our gaze is being sent up to the sky. And you may want to adjust your chin so that maybe tucking it toward your chest will elongate the back of your neck along with your spine a little bit better. As opposed to having your eyes straight up, you create that curve in the back of your neck. Try to have a nice long spine from your tailbone on up to the base of your head. So that's an active mountain pose. And if you would kindly put your hands on your tummy, and we're going to breathe in, and on the inhale, invite the pose into your body. So we're in mountain pose, and just invite that pose into your body. Just kind of do a check, have your toes flexed and your legs nice and straight and strong with a gentle bend in the knee. Maybe try to lower your lower back down to the mat. But on that inhale, invite that all in. And then when you're doing your exhale, send nourishing breaths to your joints. Again, this yoga is more about your connective tissues than your muscles. So your connective tissues are more around your joints. So take 3 deep inhales and exhales. Now we're going to bring our left knee up to our chest, wrap our hands around our leg just below the knee, keeping both toes flexed up toward the sky. That'll keep the pose active. Then try to bring your lower back down toward the mat. And you can have your right foot resting on the mat and just have your legs active. Or if you want a bit more challenge, you can just have your right leg hover a little bit above the mat. And you'll see how long 2 minutes is when you do that. So we can start the timer now. And the affirmation is, I am blessed because every day I can start again. I am blessed because every day I can start again. You can bring your right knee up to your chest and give both knees a nice hug against your chest. And then we're going to do that with the other leg. So wrap your hands around your right leg just below the knee. Extend your left leg all the way to the bottom of the mat. Both toes are flexed up to the sky to activate your legs. Lower back toward the mat. Bring your shoulders down toward the mat. And again, if you want to hover, you can do that. And I'll begin the timer now. And the affirmation again is, I am blessed because every day I can start again. I am blessed because every day I can start again. Bring your left knee up to your chest. Give both knees a nice hug. And place both feet on the mat, about hip width apart. Then we're going to go into recline pigeon. So we'll start with the right ankle, placing it on our left thigh just below the kneecap. And our right toes are going to be flexed, pointing up to the sky. And our right knee is going to be guided, and you can guide it with your hand, to point to the right side of the mat. We try to get that perpendicular so that the top of your legs form the top of a figure 4. So you can have this as your option for reclined pigeon. Or if you like a little more challenge, you can lift your left leg up, again, keeping your toes, both toes flexed up to the sky. You can wrap your hand around your left thigh, interlacing your fingers behind the thigh. Again, the flex actually is what, keep it active. Or if you want even more of a challenge, you can let go and with your right knee, you're kind of pushing down toward the bottom of the mat, and with your left thigh, you're kind of pulling up toward your chest, and that's causing resistance. I would do that very, very gently, if at all. So I'll start the timer. And the affirmation is, like a flower, I am growing at my own pace and savoring every moment. Like a flower, I am growing at my own pace and savoring every moment. Bring both knees back to your chest and give them a nice hug. And then set your feet back down on the mat, and we'll do that on the other side. Bringing your left ankle to your right thigh, just below the knee. And your left knee's pointing toward the left side of your mat. Left toes are pointing up to the sky, flexing your toes. And that might be perfect for you today. And if you want a different variation or modification, you can lift your right leg up, bringing the toes up toward the sky on your right foot. So both toes are flexed and pointing up toward the sky. You can wrap your hand around your right thigh, interlacing your fingers, or you can let go, surrender, but have it be more active by having your left knee kind of pushing down toward the bottom of the mat and your right leg pulling toward your chest. So we'll start. And the affirmation again is, like a flower, I am growing at my own pace and savoring every moment. Like a flower, I am growing at my own pace and savoring every moment. Bring your both knees up to your chest. Give them a nice gentle hug. And roll over to one side. We're going to make our way up into tabletop. And when you come to tabletop, we're going to bring both knees out to the edges of the mat so our big toes come together. And then we're going to send our hips down to our ankles and come into child's pose. And this is where a block or a blanket might come in handy. You can bring your forehead on down to either one so it's a little bit more comfortable, or you can have your head on the mat, whichever works for you. And we'll be in this pose for 2 minutes. And the affirmation is, today I celebrate the joy and wonder of spring. Today I celebrate the joy and wonder of spring. You can lift your head and come back up to tabletop, keeping your legs apart. We're going to go into thread the needle, and you can do that pose. I'm going to spread my blanket out so that my shoulder comes down on that. And you can keep your legs apart for that pose. You're going to sweep your left arm up to shoulder height, and then bring it under your torso, bringing your left shoulder and left ear down toward the mat. And if that's not comfortable, you can lower your hips a little bit. Or if you want even more challenge, if you come bringing your knees right under your hips, you can do it swinging your arm underneath. You can have that little bit more of an arch in your spine, whichever you prefer. The affirmation is, I stay rooted and will blossom no matter the direction or force of the wind. I stay rooted and will blossom no matter the direction or force of the wind. You can come back up, and we'll do that on the other side. So raise your right arm up and bring it underneath your torso, bringing your right shoulder and your right ear down toward the mat. The affirmation is, I stay rooted and will blossom no matter the direction or force of the wind. I stay rooted and will blossom no matter the direction or force of the wind. You can come back up to tabletop. The next pose we're going to do is a low lunge lizard pose. So coming into tabletop, we're going to bring, let's start with our left leg, bring our left foot forward so that our knee is right above our ankle. And this might be one option. You can use your block to put both hands on, raise you up, or you can remove the block and put your hands on the mat. So that's one variation. If you'd like, get a little bit more stretch, you just stretch out your right leg, sending your toes down toward the bottom of the mat. Another option for you to make it a little bit more comfortable, but still keep that active pose is to maybe take your left toes and turning them toward the left. So your foot's at a diagonal. That might feel a little bit more comfortable. I'll start the timer. And the affirmation is, I accept that my life will ebb and flow like the ocean tides. I accept that my life will ebb and flow like the ocean tides. Okay, bring your left knee back so you're back in tabletop. And we'll do that on the other side. So 2 minutes can seem like a long time. And another nice thing about yoga, Yin Yoga, is that you might be a little bit uncomfortable, but it encourages you to kind of be present with that feeling of being uncomfortable. I mean, you're not going to get harmed by this, but it'll allow you to just be present and be okay with a little bit of discomfort. So let's get into that discomfort pose. So you bring your right foot up so that your right knee's right above your right ankle. And again, you can keep your left knee where it is. Bring your hands to a block to the inner side of your right foot. Or you can remove the block, put your hands to the mat, and maybe slide your left leg down toward the bottom of the mat. Get into a comfortable pose. And you can use your blanket too if you want to rest your knee on that blanket, if that makes it a little more comfortable. Another option again is to turn your right toes to the right so that your foot's at a 45-degree angle. That might make it a little more comfortable. I'll start the timer. The affirmation is, I accept that my life will ebb and flow like the ocean tides. I accept that my life will ebb and flow like the ocean tides. You can bring your right foot back so that you're back into tabletop. And remove your block if you were using it. We're going to bring our elbows down to the mat right below our shoulders, and then bring our stomach down to the mat and coming into Sphinx pose. So Sphinx pose is an active pose, and check that your elbows are right below your shoulders. If that is uncomfortable, you may want to slide your fingers toward the top of the mat, bringing your elbows forward a little bit. That might be a little bit more comfortable. Resting more on your rib cage. You can support your rib cage with the blanket if that works for you. And to keep Sphinx pose active, kind of like what we were flexing our toes before, we're going to be having the tops of our feet on the mat and pushing down into the mat, pushing down into our elbows, opening up our chest, sending our gaze forward. And that's a nice active Sphinx pose. The affirmation is, I open my heart and mind to the abundance that life presents to me. I open my heart and mind to the abundance that life presents to me. You can bring your hands underneath your shoulders and come up to tabletop. And then cross your legs behind you, one leg crossed over the other, and then send your seat back so that you're sitting down on the mat, and send your legs forward, coming into staff pose. The next pose we'll do is a sage pose. And I'll give you a few options here. We do want to keep our toes flexed up to the sky. You can bring your, we'll start with the right leg, right sole of your leg into toward your left knee, and have your right leg pointing to the right side of the mat so that your legs are forming a figure 4. And then we'll bring the left hand to the left knee, right fingertips behind your hips, and send your gaze out straight ahead. That's one version. Or you can bring your right knee up toward the sky, your right foot's on the mat, wrapping your left arm around your right leg, and sending your gaze out to the side. Or if you're really in mood to be challenged, you may want to put your left elbow on the outside of your right knee and turn your head over your right shoulder. That's a real stretch. So you pick, and you can adjust. It's not written in stone that you have to stay with whatever you start off with. So today I'm kind of feeling like having my leg down toward the mat and doing the twist this way. So you choose. And the affirmation is, but keep your toes flexed so that your legs are active. The affirmation is, I allow my mind and body to naturally transform and evolve with the turning of the seasons. I allow my mind and body to naturally transform and evolve with the turning of the seasons. You can bring your legs back together, back to staff pose, and we'll do that on the other side. Bringing your left foot toward your right knee with your knee bent, pointing to the left side. Bring your right hand to your left knee, left fingertips behind your hips, one option. Or lifting your left knee up toward the sky, wrapping your right arm around, another option. Or you can put the leverage of your elbow against your knee, turning your head toward the left over your left shoulder, whichever you prefer. And the affirmation is, I allow my mind and body to naturally transform and evolve with the turning of the seasons. I allow my mind and body to naturally transform and evolve with the turning of the seasons. And you can release your legs, come back into staff pose. For this next one, I actually enjoyed using my blanket in this, or towel. And it's going to be a reclined butterfly. So you bring the soles of your feet together. And what I like to do is take that towel, put it on the tops of my feet, and then reach under my legs and pull the towel in toward my heels. So it kind of wraps my feet in a nice cocoon. I just find that particularly cozy and supportive. And then gently roll back so that your back is on the mat. And the affirmation is, I trust my life is blossoming exactly as it should be. I trust my life is blossoming exactly as it should be. Bring your hands on the outer sides of your legs and gently guide your legs back together again. And we're going to bring both knees to our chest, give them a nice hug. And then we're going to go into recline twist. So bring your arms out to the sides at shoulder height, palms facing up. Exhaling, bring both knees down to the right. And then gently turn your head to look to the left hand. The affirmation is, this morning I awaken as though I am seeing life for the first time. This morning I awaken as though I am seeing life for the first time. Gently turn your head back to center. Then inhale, lifting your legs up. And then exhale, bringing them down to the left side. And then slowly turning your head to the right to look at your right fingertips. And the affirmation is, this morning I awaken as though I am seeing life for the first time. This morning I awaken as though I am seeing life for the first time. Slowly turn your head back to center. And then inhale, lifting your knees up back to center. And then send both feet down to the bottom of the mat and prepare for Shavasana. So now you can actually relax. So bring both heels out the edges of the mat. Let your feet just flop open. And just where your body was active in those poses, just allow your body to surrender into the mat, relaxing the muscles, the bones, and your mind. So the last thought I have for you is from Deborah Adele, and this is from her chapter in her book, Yamas and Niyamas. And it's about the fifth Niyama, the Isvara Pranidhana, the Niyama about surrender. She says, life knows what to do better than we do. Our task is simply to let go and receive each moment with an open heart, and then dance skillfully with it.